start the session, and definitely the recordings are all available. So quickly, as we discussed in the previous session, that we will try to take the syllabus, but also we will try to see the questions, because the questions of 204 are not so easy. And if you really also do those questions in a practical way, you are learning Azure in a integrated fashion. So let me explain you. So for example, if you want to just learn the web apps, it's very straightforward. You create a web app and publish it. But if you go through the questions, you will come to know that things are very different, right? So let me talk about the Azure storage. So today I'll try to talk about Azure storage. We will talk about Cosmos DB, the general storage, the Cosmos DB, and also we'll talk about Azure events. So there is one topic which is very much focused on developing event-based solution, right? Blob table cube, and then we will talk about some integrated questions which comes from both of these topics, right? So first thing I would like to know from here, that how many people are new to Azure, because what happens is many people keep subscribing and the session really goes forward. So I want to know that how many people are new to Azure, in the sense that if you're really new to Azure, I hope that you should see once our step-by-step question series. Can people who are new to Azure, can you just put that you are very much new to Azure? So I would really suggest to go through these basic concepts like Cosmos DB, functions. This will help you to understand the fundamentals of Azure. So let me know if someone is very much new to Azure here. Do not shy off, don't worry, right? We always keep doing these trainings again and again, so you will get one chance again sometimes in the coming 3-4 months to again attend this training. So I can see like a lot of people are not really new to Azure, so that's a good thing. New, okay, Srini. So if you're new, right, I will try, Srini, today to also cover some basic, but I would suggest to go through step-by-step course, and also I would suggest to go through the AZ900, right, the AZ900 certification. But here it is. So one of the topics which they really emphasize is on the storage accounts. Okay, so the storage accounts is where Azure has blobs and tables and queues, right? So if you look at the just very quickly, just a brief like 1 minute introduction out here. So if you look at the Azure storage, right, the Azure storage really has different types. So for example, one of the things as a developer you guys are very much aware of, the storage is only SQL Server, right? So yes, you can get SQL Server from Azure, but that's not something new for you, right? But from the platform as a service thing, platform as a service means the services which are only available on Azure platform. There are some storages given out there. One is the blob, one is table, right? One is queues, right? And one is pure files. So one is, this is your traditional RDBMS, and these are like the storage which are available on Azure cloud, right? So these blobs are data which are more binary, which you want to store, right? Tables are tables, so rows and columns. Queues, first in first out kind of scenario if you're looking at, and files are physical files, right? Now in case of binary, so like you can ask a question here saying that, okay, so binary files are also binary, and this is also binary, so what is the difference between them? See, remember the here it actually streams data. So for example, if you have 1 GB of data, it will stream the data like in packets. You can define like, okay, stream 10 MB of packets, right? But in case of binary files, it will just come out with the whole file, right? So if you want to go and create an Azure storage out there, what you can do is you can go out here and you can go and type. If you are not really comfortable with the long menus out here, don't worry, you can just go and type out here storage accounts. So everything comes inside storage accounts. You go ahead, you create a storage account. In that, then you create a blob. In that, you go and you create a queue. In that, you can go and create whatever you wish, right? So I'm going to go and create a storage account out here very, very quickly. Right, create a storage account. So first thing, always create them into the resource groups, whatever it is. So I'll say rest1. So storage account name, I'll just say QuestPond storage, right? And standard premium. So I'll just keep it standard, right? Now, you can see out here, there are the various kinds of storages which are given. And let me quickly talk about it. So if you see, there is V2, and then there is V1, and then there is a blob storage, right? So frankly, this V1 is the old one. So if you have, if you are having some legacy kind of thing, must be you can keep this, but for new things you should avoid it. And the V2 is the new one. The new one has everything. It has file, it has some new features, it has audit trail, it has a lot of other things, right? And there is one pure blob storage. So actually inside storage you will have blob and queues and everything, but sometimes you want to say, no, like I want to have just a blob storage, a pure blob storage, nothing in that. I will not put files, I will not put tables or anything, right? So this is a special kind of blob storage out here. What I found is in real-time scenarios, I really find the storage V2, the new version, to be much better, because it has the combination of blob storage and all the old things of V1 plus the new things, right? So remember that one of the things what happens is in the certification I've seen, in some of the questions, they will put like, you have a general purpose V1, then can you do this? So sometimes we don't look at that version and we just stick some answers, and those are actually wrong, right? So I just want to make you aware that in the exam, if you see which is V2, you should have a different mindset. But if you see like V1, then that means that some features are not available, right? So remember, in the exam, some of the questions which I will go through, you will find that this V1 and V2 are very confusing, right? This is the new version, it has everything. Old one, legacy, and also Microsoft has given a good plan to migrate this. So I would suggest to people really go and migrate from V1 to V2. The cost is almost same. And then blob storage, which was made very specifically for blob storage. But what I find is in V2 now we have almost all the features. I don't see a special need of blob storage as such, right? So I'll just select V2 for now. Cool and hot. So everybody knows about this cool and hot. So in case people are not new to Azure here. Now, if you have a blob out there which is been read again and again and again, must be you can keep it hot and keep it cached, or else you can just keep it cool. So I'm going to go and keep it cool out here. Why? Because it just gives me extra charges out there. So, and I'll create this account, right? So that's one thing, which is expected, that how do you go ahead and then you create an Azure storage account? How do you go ahead and create a blob, right? How do you go ahead and access that in C# and so on, right? So now here you can see the Microsoft is getting created. That's the deployment is underway, right? So this is one part, right? One more thing, which I want to really highlight here, the feature which again in 204 they give a very specific stress on, that is events, Azure events, right? So think about it. In Azure, you will have lots of things out there. For example, so let that blob storage get created, right? Let it get created at the back end, right? So like assume you have a you have a blob storage out here, right? Azure blob. You have some function app out here. A function app means a small piece of code of .NET or Node or something which you want to execute, right? Or must be you have something else. You have let's say you have Cosmos DB out here. Somebody asked me a question on Cosmos DB, I'll answer that. Or you have some kind of let's say logic app out here, right? Now what you want is you want to go and communicate things to each other. For example, when a new entry of a blob is made, you go and you make a call to function app, right? And for that, we have one more thing here called as the Azure events, event grid, right? This event grid, what it does is, this event grid is a global grid. So when you take an Azure subscription, this event grid is there out there, a big one, wherein it is specifically for my subscription where I can send messages and I can subscribe to it, right? So let's say now this blob wants to send a message, right? So what the blob can do is the blob becomes a publisher and he sends a message out here, right? And he sends a message to a topic. I'll come to the topic later on. We'll talk about this topic. And this event grid actually goes and takes this topic, right? Now this is a function app here. He says that I want to go and subscribe to that blob storage event, right? So what will happen now? When an event is raised out here, this event grid will go and see the subscriber. So this becomes a publisher and this becomes a subscriber. So this event grid is an awesome mechanism, by which you can go and you can communicate between all these heterogeneous systems, what Azure has created. So you have Azure file system out there, you have Azure blob out there, you have an Azure Function app, a Logic app, or a website, and you want to just send a message from here, it should go out there, and it should only go when there is a subscription, right? So again, for this, we have an event grid out here. Now this event grid, the way it works is, the event grid, with the way it works is that you have a source first thing, right? Just in generic way, you have a source out here. From the source, you will send out events. You will say that, let's say this is a blob source. So blob will say a blob created event, right? And then this you actually publish to a topic. A topic you can think about, for example, this is a created event. Let's say there is a deleted event. You don't want to publish to this topic. You want to publish to some another topic here. This topic helps you to group the events, because sometimes what happens is you have thousands of events coming out, and you do not know that the subscriber does not know where to in which category to subscribe, right? So this topic is nothing but, you can think about like a like a classification which says that, okay, all the created events and deleted events all come out here. Now there is a subscriber out there, or there is a listener out there, who says, and this can be anyone, it can be a function app. He will say that, okay, I want to go and subscribe to this topic, right? So I want to go and subscribe to this topic, right? And all these connection, this one here, subscription and etc., is all done through Azure Event Grid, right? Okay. So if you see out here, for example, let us see, let's go to our portal again, guys. Always remember that this class here is not only from the perspective of just questions, it's also from the perspective of from the knowledge perspective, right? So you can see here, you can go ahead and you can create a event topic, you can create an event subscriber, you can also go and create an event grid, and you can do things, right? So we'll come to this. So this is one more thing, which is important. Okay, so we have Azure blobs. We have Azure storage. In that we have blobs. So you can see here it has created now coming back again, guys, please come back. That was the theory part of Azure events. It is done. Now here it is, our storage account is created. I was actually waiting for the storage account to get created. So here is a storage account. Now inside this storage account, I can go and I can create things, so I can go and say here that let me go and create, that is a storage explorer. First thing, let me go and create blob. So if you want to create a blob, you will create a container, right? And inside that you will have the blob. If you want to create a file, this is file share, tables, right? Queues. So you can see this is storage is the main thing. And then inside that, we have the various kind of data structures or data storages given by Azure, right? So let me go and create a container out here. I will add a container. So inside this container, we'll say that this container is a public container. Anybody can access it, test123 questpon something, right? And I will say public, or even anonymous can access. You shouldn't do that, but I just done a anonymous access out there. And this is a container. And now inside this, you can see I can go and I can upload things out here. I can go and say, okay, upload a file. I can upload things. So I can go and say that let's upload this one. And that's an image which I'm uploading. I can upload a movie. I can upload an Excel file or whatever, right? So that's a very brief introduction of storage accounts and also Azure events, right? Okay. Now with this, let me go back to 204. Remember, guys, theory and the situation, how Microsoft looks at this whole exam is important here. So let me go back now to one of the questions, which is very favorite in 204. Every time I look at 204 exam, I've always seen, this thing out here, right? So I'm going to go and blow this PowerPoint out here and let us check this. So look at the question, and please, again, as I've said, look out for those words like general purpose. V1 is there or V2 is there, right? Let me go and put a snap out here. Let me see if I can snap this. Can't. That is sad. Let me snap from here. So let's read this question. Right. So here you can see you are developing a software as an application program wherein you want to manage photographs. So you have people who are uploading photos to a web service, which then stores the photos in Azure, and it stores the photos in storage, blob storage, right? Okay. So there is a blob storage, right? So there is a blob storage out there. Let's understand the question. And there is a web service. So he said that there is a web service out here, and this web service goes and uploads it into blob storage. Remember, any Azure thing what you see out there, blob or files, you can always access via API. You can call via C#, you can call via Node or Java. So this web service is uploading photos into this blob storage out here, right? And then the storage account is of general v2. So this is a blob storage. It is of general purpose v2. Fine, right? So that means that we don't have to worry about that v1 and all that things, right? You can see now, if you look at the Azure 900, the 204 exam is going into details of every option out there. So you have to be very careful in answering. And when these photos are uploaded, they must be produced to save a mobile friendly version of it. So these photos which get uploaded in the blob storage, for example, if you saw how I uploaded browse the photo, right? In the way this program will upload it, this has to be gone ahead and it has to be created. These photos has to be read and mobile versions of the photos have to be created, right? So so what we should do, so that's the mobile version of the photos should be created. So he says one of the answers, definitely this is not the answer, right? It says that you have to go and convert it into a blob storage. No point, right? The blob storages, do not define any kind of things, to go and convert into a mobile friendly thing and so on, right? So also like here very quickly, this mobile version, this logic, this call here will be made to some logic app or some function app. So that function app code will have the code to resize. So that means that first thing, this converting from a blob to something blob, does not really make this call. So the answer is definitely no, right? Now let's look at the other question. This is the same question out here, but this is a more, if you look at it now, here it is, they have the same question, but they have given the solution a bit different here. And that's what the solution is. Let me again come back here. Right, so snip. The same question, but the different solution. So in the first time, he gave the solution as converted into some other storage type, but that does not make sense. If you look at the 204 exam, for this kind of question, they tell you things like convert to v2 to v1, or they convert block to blob storage, or to file storage. So those answers really don't make sense. But here it is, the same question, trigger the photo processing process of blob storage. So in other words, here what he's saying is, so you have a blob here, it goes and it stores an image. From here, you will fire an event to an Azure event grid. That's what the answer is, definitely. You will fire an event to the Azure event grid, right? Right. So that's where event grid is now coming into picture. So yeah, Mani, you are right. So what I did today is, because what is happening is, guys, very quickly, when I look at these questions, right, these questions are coming from two topics. So what I thought about is today, like I'll take the class in such a way that the questions are also covered and the topics are also covered, right? And also I'll be showing a demo of this. So I want to show you a demo where I want to upload something in the blob, configure an Azure event grid, right? Create a topic and then publish it to a function app, right? So so here it is, this is right, so that you publish to an Azure event grid, and from here you will make a call, sorry, not a call, he will not even call. There will be a function app out here, must be, and this function app will subscribe to this event, right? And that's it. So that's the right thing. So the blob, the first thing, the blobs out there, they have storage events. So let me go now, guys. Let us try to do this demo, right? So the answer is definitely yes, right? But let us see a demo out here so that you also understand how exactly it works, right? So I'm going to do like this. So here is my QuestPoint storage account, right? But we can trigger the function with this also. Yes. Okay. So I'll come back to all the questions, guys. So let us do this demo. So here is I already created my blob, and so let us go to events out here. You can see there is an event out here, and this event is where you can go and you can add an event subscription, right? So I'm going to go and create an event subscription out here, and I will say that go and publish this event. So let us name this event as something like blob quest qp blob events, right? It's QuestPoint blob events, and it goes and publishes to the grid. Remember that event grid is like a big global thing which is given to you. So anything you push out there, if there is a subscriber for it, he will get that value, right? So there it is. Topic name. So he says that please put them into a topic name. Pick up a topic which should be pushed to your destination. So I'll say, okay, topic name, I'll say QP topic, right? To topic 1 to 3 so that I don't get confused. So what kind of events you want to now capture? So I'll say, okay, whenever a blob is created and whenever a blob is deleted, I'll just take the basic topics out here. Now here, you can see it is saying that, okay, now this one, so this thing, whatever you do out here, pick up an event handler. So basically pick up an event handler that where do you want to get called out here, right? So what I will do out here is, let me go ahead and must be I should go back way. I should first create an Azure function. So I'm doing a mistake out here. I should first go and create an Azure function out here, right? So let me go back again. So let me go more logically. So let me create a function app. Remember, function apps are small piece of code. So sometimes, rather than creating the whole website and hosting it and having heavy cost, must be you would like to go and create a function app which says that, okay, this will resize the photographs from this to this. So whenever the photographs are uploaded, only at that time you get charged to run that code, or else you don't get charged. If you go and if you host a full website, then you get charges out there, right? So I'm going to go and create a function app out here, right? Let's do this. Create a function app. Let us create everything into resource one so that I can delete it. So I give the name as function correspond photos, whatever, right? And yes, what in which is this code created? I'll just say .NET Core. At this point, I'll not code that resize, guys. I'm not going to go and code the resize image. I'm sure that in .NET you know the better ways of doing it. So I'll just show you that the call is made. So I'll say review created, right? And I'll just say create. Okay, so there it is. And there the function app is created. Very nice. Okay. Okay, so there's a question here from Divesh. I'll take is there any limitation to function app? I don't see any limitation, but remember that but function apps can become very costly if you don't choose it properly. Very quickly, I'll answer that question. There are two things. Let me talk about when you should use function app as compared to when you should use a full website, right? So let us first put up a question out here. So the question there is that has function app any limitation? I don't think about that. There is a limitation, but it has to be used properly. So there are scenarios for it. So one is that you have a whole website. The problem with the whole website is even if your website is not running, right? Even if nobody is coming to your website, right? Still you get charged for the storage. So for hosting and etc. you get charged, right? In case of function app, you don't get charged actually for it. You only get charged when you run the code, right? Now, if you make a wrong choice, let us say that you have this run code out here, and this code is running every time, every now and then, then it's a problem, because then probably you'll get charged higher, right? So you will use function apps, when it is like, you run the code for some time and after that you don't run it for the whole day, must be. Like whenever you have photographs, you're resizing or else you're not resizing. So the limitation out here is that if you use the function app like a website, you are having a problem. You will actually get a higher bill, right? So remember, choose function apps carefully, and remember that function apps cannot replace your websites. Websites are having pages, websites are having a lot of things. If you look at function app, it is just having a single piece of code. So you can see here. So here you can see this function app. I can go and I can put some code out there. So let me go and add a function. Now one is you can use Visual Studio and you can go ahead and you can see this. You can add on function app, but at this point I'll not do anything. I'll just add a basic code which is given by them. But now who will trigger this? That's very interesting. Who will trigger this? Now the trigger of this guy will be done by the Azure event, right? So I'm going to go and say that I'm going to go and subscribe to event grid out here. Look at this, right? I'll subscribe to an event grid. So you'll say that this is an event grid trigger 1, which will get triggered. So now I have created, means I have subscribed to something called as event grid trigger 1. Now that guy out there, the the storage account, should actually go and send this to event grid 1, right? So I'm going to go now to correspond storage out here, and let's go to events again, events. And now let us go and create it. So previously, that event grid trigger 1 was not there, but now I had. So event subscription. So QP storage, whatever events, event QP, right? These are all the event types. No, sorry. And what is the endpoint? So my endpoint at this moment is actually an Azure function, right? That's what my endpoint is, right? So it's okay, like go ahead and select an endpoint, and you can see now when you actually go and select an endpoint, he gives you this trigger. He says that okay, go ahead and into that Azure event grid, send it to that event trigger one, and I will push it, to the other things, right? So I'm going to say yes, go ahead and make a confirm call, and I'll say create, right? So you can see now I have created, one person is actually what do you call, he has created an event, the Azure storage, and the other guy is actually subscribing to it, right? So now let us try to go and make some, let us try to push some data. So let me go here and let us try to push some data out here. So first thing, if I go now, let me open this in a new tab. Okay. Let's see first thing, how to go and see when the events are called, right? So I'm going to go here to the function photos out here, and over here, this event, which is out here, right. Sorry, where is the event? Where are the calls? Actually, I wanted to show you that at this moment, there are no calls made. This one is actually event. Again, he's saying that he wants to subscribe. This is not what I'm looking at. I want to know where I can see the calls out here. Okay, let us see afterwards. So let us go back now, and let me put something in the storage, right? So I'm going to go now to the storage out here. So let's go to, where is the, yeah, they put it here. Sometimes I get confused. So fine, here it is. Remember, the event which we have created is on the Azure create. So I'm going to go now, and let's try to upload something. So this is a create event out here. So I'm going to go and create this event, right? So this is this. Okay, it's already exists. Can I take something else? So I'll take this. Something is on there. Let's do it. Right. And also what I'll do is I'll go and delete something out here, because if you remember, we had also deletes, right? So I'm doing two events I've published. One is this one, and one is the delete, right? So I'm going to go and I can say that let's delete this. So I'm going to also delete one of them. Well, that soft delete is extra cost, so I don't like it. Disable soft delete. Fine. Soft delete means he will not actually delete it, he will retain it somewhere else, right? So you can see now I have actually added a record, right? And I have also deleted a record. Now let us see, does this go and make a call into, didn't it delete it? I did say delete. It's okay. That's soft delete. Okay, so here it is, right? So now let's go now and see, has the call been made to the event grids or not? Now remember that okay, so now let's go to function app. I wanted to show the, so let's go out here. So this is the events preview out here. So right, so that is the event trigger one, right? So there it is. Sometimes I get confused on those links. So that's, remember, this was the event trigger one, right? And this, let us see that this event trigger one, if it has been called or how it is, right? So I don't see that. It's enabled. I can see that there are two calls made. I want to show you. You can see there are two calls made out here. Okay, monitor. My eyes. I'm blind. Yes, monitor. I'm so sorry, Amit. I was seeing something else. Okay, it has said one call, but actually it should make two calls. I'm not sure why it did not call the delete. Let me try again. Must be he must call it after some time. Must be the refresh just takes some time, is it? But there were two calls actually. Let me try once again. So I don't know why it has not shown out there. Let me again go to question storage out here. Let me see why it is not showing a delete. I think I subscribed to delete, is it? Yes, I did subscribe to delete. So I'm not sure why it is only showing. Let me do one thing. Let me add again. I did subscribe to delete. Somebody's resume out there. Let me go back very quickly and first see. This refresh also takes time, guys. It does take time to come here. Why? Take time means not much time, but it should be. I should see one more call here. I'm not sure why it is not seen. So, but the point is, you can see that one call was out there, which was definitely there, which was not there previously. But I should see one more call. I'm not sure why it is not seen. We can wait for some like 30 seconds and see it, right? So, the point I'm trying to say here is that must be we'll see after some time, because I think this is made in 1557s. It will take some time to show out here, right? Even the delete should actually be also shown out here, or else. So, okay, we'll wait for some time. So but the point here is that this question out here, signifies the same thing which I showed here. I created a blob. From that blob, I pushed up an event into Azure Event Grid, and from there it called a function app. Now the function app can then read from the blob, do the small sizing of the images and put it somewhere else, right? So guys, any questions on this one? This question, remember, this this one question, what they put out there, it comes as a case study. So this question I've just shortened it, but they will give you a big case study at the top, and then they will ask you a couple of questions around this like this. So that one question itself is a very big question in 204. Any questions? If you have, please go ahead and put it over there. This is so sad. Now I see two. Guys, can you see now? It is two out here. I think that was deleted or removed. I don't know why. That I have to check out, but you can see that the second call also has been made through the event grid, right? So let me go to some questions out here. Let me start from this. So here are some questions. Let me go one each one of them. Why do we need event grid? Okay. Can't we call directly the function app? Okay. So let me answer this question. See, first thing, why people use events? People use events, so that they do not know anything about the other system. For example, the blob storage has no idea that the other party whom he is calling is actually a function app. He just pushes it to the grid, and from the grid, the function app subscribes to it. So the events, even when you talked about delegates and events, if you remember in your .NET, the same events is now being highlighted in a more bigger infrastructure way in Azure and other places as well. Why do people use events? People use events for decoupling. They say that I throw an event, you subscribe to it, so that I have no idea of who is the subscriber, what kind of infrastructure he is having, what kind of technology he is having. So that's why this is much better. If you start calling directly the function app, then you have to know that function app is a REST service. You have to know that the function app is allowing post or get. You have to know the data structure of it, and it becomes very difficult, right? So I think event grids make sense. Okay, let's see. How do I calculate cost? You can use the TCO calculator to do it. And second, remember that function app cost and etc. It's always given. So function app cost, Azure costing, they always give you, you can see out here, that's the pricing in the GA. GA means general availability, right? So you can see Azure pricing out there. So you can see here, he does not charge you, he does not bill you for hard disk. You can see here, he does not bill you for hard disk. So what you can do is, you can go to this Azure pricing link out here, and you can use this calculator, and you can go and search any of the features out there, and you can search the cost. So you can see for the execution time, he's going to go and charge you this much. And for total execution, if you do this much, then it will charge you for 1 million execution. It's pretty cheaper, if you use it properly. But you can see it only charges you for CPU. So that's why a lot of people say this is serverless, because it runs on any CPU and then charges you, right? So that's everywhere you will see consumption, resource-based consumption, but not the storage, right? So you can see the charges out there. You can have a look at it. 1,100 rupees for, let me see, 2 million executions. But then he is not talking about the CPU cycle, right? Okay, we can have one separate course only on Azure costing, right? So, but that page can help you, Divesh, to understand it. Function app, is it a replacement of a web job? Very good question. Kumar sir, yes, I think yes, for now. Well, not really the replacement of web job. Web job, you can think about the web job thing. It is more of, how do you say, more of a website. So web job and worker role, they are all gone off now. But yes, for now you can say yes, function app is a replacement of web job, or I will say web job is replaced with app service mode. Function app is similar to Windows service? No, function app is a good question. Let me talk about this. Function app, is it similar to Windows service? If the function app is triggered by a timer, it becomes a Windows service. If you see at this moment, the function app is triggered by an event grid. Function app can be triggered by an HTTP call. But if you go and say that what is the event, if you say that the event is a timer, then it becomes a background processing which will keep running when the timer is there, right? So function app by itself is not a Windows service, but depending upon what events call it, it can become a Windows service. If you are thinking that Windows service means a background process which keeps running, you can keep the function app running continuously by using a timer. Okay, let us go and see one more question, which is again connected with this, and we will also see the demo, right? So guys, this is how I'm planning. Because what is happening is, for example, I'll tell you, if I go and see the Azure Blob storage out here, right? Azure storage, I'll come to Cosmos DB. When I look at Azure storage out there, or Azure function, right? They have talked about a lot of things, but when they come to the questions, they talk about practical questions, that the Azure, is connected to this one. How will you configure it, right? So what I'm planning is that by respecting 204, I'll take the question, like how I did previously also. I'll take the question and then I will show a demo around it. The demo is quite big. It will take 30 minutes, but I think once you see the question, you will understand it, right? So remember, in the previous part also, I showed a demo which was related to this Git repo, where I wrote an Azure CLI, I went ahead, I did a get latest, and I was trying something out here. So once you see the demo, then you won't forget these answers. I'm sure that even if you look at the answers now, and if you see what I've demoed in the previous Sunday or wherever, you should be able to answer it, right? So I'm planning, like, guys, the course like this: take a question, do the fundamentals around it, and then go ahead. So Amit, I'll come to the durable function. There is a very nice question on durable function with practicality. So I'll come to that. Don't worry. I know which question to connect to which chapter now. So much Azure AZ 204 I've done. So okay. So let's continue with Azure storage out here, and I'll take one more question out here, which is really to my heart, and I can see that they are really picking up small points, and that's why this is a developer-oriented course. This is a developer course. Here you have to be a developer. So right, look at this. Interesting. You are developing an application that uses an Azure Blob storage, right? So you have an Azure Blob storage out there. The application must read the transaction logs of all the changes that occur to the blobs metadata for auditing purpose. That's very important. So that means there is a blob out there that is getting modified. So you want to, the changes must be in an order which they occurred. So fine, it should be chronological. And so if you have a create, then an update, and then a delete, so it should be retained for compliance purpose, like must be HIPAA or some of those compliance which you see out there, right? So what should you do, right? So first thing, process all Azure Blob storage event by using Azure Event Grid. Very difficult. I won't take this answer. Why? Because if you miss any of the events out there, you are not doing your compliance part, right? I want to ask one question out here to everyone. In SQL Server, first thing I want to make a point. When you say that it has to be compliant means what? Even the developer should not be able to modify it. When you say that some logs are stored, the developer also cannot tamper with that. So that means that it should not be any developer oriented kind of code here. It should be built in into the system. So when you say that you want to go and get compliant with something, the software itself should support it. It is not about, for example, somebody will say, okay, write a trigger. Okay, you will write a trigger, but what if your trigger fails? A lot of people I see, they use audit trail to write insert, update, delete, right? You write it, but if your trigger fails, then who is responsible for that audit which is lost out there, right? So remember that whenever you are saying that you want to go and become compliant, it should be inbuilt into system, because that is time tested, right? So I would be looking something inbuilt into the system out here, right? So definitely this storage events, I can make a mistake. What if I do not select created, deleted? So I will not take this. Okay. Change feed, I'll talk about this later on. Process all Azure storage analytical logs. This is interesting. Azure has analytic logs. Analytic means who has come to your thing, or who has come to this, how many people have hit out here. But the Azure Analytics, do not talk about metadata. If you change the structure, if you do something, Azure Analytics does not really talk about it. It does not talk very detail about it, right? So again, this analytics is for analytics, saying that how much is your consumption, who is consuming where, must be for pricing purpose. This is not really for compliance purpose. When you say compliance means what? Oh, old value and new value. I want to go and check the old value and new value. Who updated it? What is the context, right? So those kind of things. So definitely analytics do not really go into this one, right? Use the Azure monitor. Again, this monitor and scan the request body of the Azure successful blob events. But see, again here, guys, this one, I won't really take it. As I've said, I want something ready-made inside it. These all are like, this is a programmatic thing you are doing. This one again, monitor data. Who people does not monitor, then what, right? So here it is. There is something they have given called a change feed into storage account, right? So this is an inbuilt feature called a change feed. What the change feed does is, the change feed, if you do an update or a delete or anything, right, it will go and it will do an archival, and then you can go and read the change feed. Please note that this change feed which is given into the storage account is only read only. You cannot edit, you cannot do anything. So that means, again, like for example, if you look at this Azure monitor, you can clear it. If you're an admin, you can clear it, right? But there you can't really do that, right? So the answer is B, change feed. Now let me go and show you the demo. Yes, Amit, yes, I'll show you in the portal, and let me go and show you. So we already have created a blob storage. Not versioning, Divesh, it is not versioning. You want to say old value, new value. You want to look at the old values and new values. So very quickly, here, remember, if you look at the question, it has very clearly said the changes include create, update, delete operation in a chronological order and retain for compliance purpose, and it should log asynchronously. This is also very important. Means when the changes happen, it is not that the other party has to wait. For example, in this case, when you're saying HTTP, it will be synchronous, right? Or some other places it can be synchronous, right? So let us go and see where the change feed is. So if you go to the Azure storage out here, first thing to read about change feed, right? Let me see notes. That's where is the change feed code, the change feed, the tutorial, which is in docs. So you can see here the change feed, you will get it. So before I go here, must be enable, they're given as blob versioning, but that's not really blob versioning. Data protection, right? So I'm going to go and type your data protection. I'm sorry, I don't remember those words really. It's so many things out there. So data protection, that's where the property is. And you can see here, no, data protection, and why I don't see that. That is data protection. Let me see, change feed. Yeah, but I don't, why I don't see, that's a soft delete. Okay, no, I should see the word change feed. I want to see that word change feed. I think I saw the word change feed. Remember, they named it as blob versioning, but okay. Yeah, that's what I want. Blob change feed. So actually it should be on the blob level. Remember? So why I'm not seeing it? Can you see it? Can you see that? Why? Let me go to correspond storage. Let me go to containers. Must be it is here. Yeah, only on the blob. Yeah, I was actually on the storage account. Oh, did he say it was an Azure blob? That uses Azure blob storage. Fine, that's a blob storage. Why I don't see? Can I type your change feed? Help me. You can see it goes here, but that's very. I liked it. What it did. He knows that the property is here. For some reason, I don't see this out here. Hate this. What a mess. That's where it should be. Remember, guys, also like I have not really practiced and come here. This is something I've done it once and now I'm today doing it. When you turn out soft delete, your blob may be lost. This is a soft delete actually. There here down and then check it. Yeah, I think I should. That is one part. But here it is. This should be there. Data protection, storage account. You can see here. Navigate to your storage account under blob service. Navigate to your storage account under blob service. Choose data protection. No, nothing about blob anonymous. That's sure. Okay, I need to really check this part. Yeah, no, but this no, you can see here. Can you see? This is a storage. Okay, can be. Let me check that. But I can see out here. He did not say general V2, right? Did he? Let me. I'm so sorry. Azure blob storage. Yeah, possible. No, I know that it's also on the basic storage because I've done it. I've in one of my projects I've enabled it. But like I can see a lot of people out there who are must be. Let me try that. So storage account. Let me create a storage account out there. Let me see if I can create a blob storage out there. Just a pure blob storage. I've stopped using blob storage, but let me do that. I did select this all. So QP pure blob. And I will select a blob storage. Okay, and I'll say cool. Let's see. Possible it's only on the blob, but I think when I did in one of my clients recently, I did remember this is a preview version. It's in preview. It's a new feature. If I'm not wrong, this is in a preview. It's in a preview mode actually. So for example, if you go and see data protection, you will see the word preview out there. You can see all these are preview. Huh? When you see the word preview means be very careful in what you're doing. So data protection, no, it's not in preview. I think people are right. I think it was a blob storage. Okay, let me do that. It's happening. Blob storage is getting created. Go to resource. Let's do that. Right, data protection. I have no idea. No idea why. So that's the place where you will enable it, right, guys? I don't know. Under blob service, choose data protection. Is this something special? Oh, That's what it is under blob service. It's the same thing. So guys, I'll check this part. I'm not really sure why it has not enabled that thing, but I'm 100% sure you should see this change feed enabled, right? Okay, fine. So if this once okay, but now here are some problems which I want to talk about this. I'm so sorry, guys. You know, I think this UI is the old UI. I somehow feel they have changed here. Huh? I feel like this has been changed, guys, because it's my mistake. I think this has been changed. Okay. Now one more thing. When you go and you create this change feed, right? One bad news is for now, currently it's not a bad news. It's, you know, they are going to keep updating it. You can't really go and see that data directly. You have to go and write this piece of code out here. I'm so sorry to say that, but that's how it is. You have to go and read the change feed. So if you want to really go and do that, you have to go and add these packages. I will not do it now. Add the storage change feed, get the access to the blob. So if you see out here, the change feed is in public preview, right? And it is available in, oh, in Western. Oh, right. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, I just read it. Shit. Okay, I think that's good. So guys, very quickly, I think some people have really caught it out, and thanks for that, you know. So basically, when you actually go and create a storage account, you should, for only for that region, it has been enabled, and that's why I was not able to see it. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry I've messed this up. So this was East US. So if I go and select that West Central US, then only I will do it, you know, I will get it, or else I will not get it. So must be, I remember my client was a West US, so that's why. Must be if I select one of these, I will get it. So guys, please try it. At this point, I'll not do. But I want to make one more point out here is, you still cannot go and, there is no UI out here where you can go and you can see the change feed, right? So at this moment, there is no UI. So you have to go and write this piece of code out here. You have to go and add this stupid change feed nugget package manager. You have to then go and read it. Remember, it's a feed. Huh? As you keep adding it, it will keep see, and then you have to go and write this long piece of code where you will get the old values and new values and so on, right? So please note that at this moment, there are no there is no way to go and read the records directly. You have to go and do such kind of comparison, such kind of code out here, right? So guys, any questions on the feed? But the thing is, yes, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Narayan sir, for putting that thing out here. I was so confused. I'm so sorry for that. Okay, but I hope everybody understood that it's something, you know, it's something very difficult to, when you select some default value, when you go ahead, right, it's difficult, right? So sorry for that mess. So just coming to that question, change feed, that's the answer, right? So B is the answer, and I've also pasted the URL down below. So guys, any questions in this two things out here? Azure Blob Storage, how to integrate it with Azure Events, and what exactly is the change feed in the Azure Blob, you know, for the update, delete, and other purpose. So I want to ask a question to everyone. Question, you can stop recording now because I